Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
This is a tile laying game. We're going to be putting tiles down or to activate their powers and to score points. It's a very abstract game despite the box looking really cool and having all these different characters. Really, each tile has a picture on it, and it will signify that that tile is going to work a little bit differently. Some will move things around, etc., etc. But you're paying these tiles down in such a way to score points. Very abstract. The theme really means nothing other than the fact that the tiles do something different. And that's where the interactivity and the excitement of the game comes from. You're always going to have 5 tiles in your hand. You're going to choose one to play, lay it down, activate it, score points, rinse, and repeat, right? That's how this game is going to come down to. A little bit too abstract for me. I'm not a real big tile laying game. There was a Beowulf game that did a lot. Kingdoms is another version of that does something very similar to this. Now, this was one I did have a fun time with. I do have a good time when I'm playing it, but just didn't have that lasting power for it. The version I had came with an expansion. That expansion definitely shook things up and added. You want more and more characters. You want those tiles to do different things. But it also slows the game down because you're like, what does this tile do? They kind of work thematically, I suppose, but you kind of have to download all that information to understand that before you're actually playing the game strategically. So that will be an aspect of this. If you're looking for a tiling experience where you're scoring points, something a little bit more abstract, this could definitely be it. The tiles and the powers, it's a little random to get in your hand, but you're going to have 5 to choose from, so you're mitigating that as you're going through. What's the best card to play? It can be a brain burner. You're going to have to think about, what do I want to play? How am I going to score this? What could the opponent do? And you go through all that. So if you tend to have analysis paralysis, this might not be the game for you. If you're playing somebody that has AP, this might not be the game to play with them, because there's going to be a little bit of that. It's a little bit of a brain burning thing, a back and forth. Otherwise, I had a good time, not a great time with it. I liked it a lot a few years ago, but as I play it more and more, it's kind of coming out of favor with me. I think it needs more tiles if you're going to play it a lot. I think that will shake things up. So if you can get the version with the expansion. I think you'll enjoy that more. While this at one time was probably a keeper for me, it has now become a purge, and it's going to find its way out of the home.
Here's Voluspa. I guess I'm saying that correctly. You can see a nice little box here. It's not a big box necessarily, but when you open it up, you can see it's much bigger than it needs to be. You're going to get a bunch of tiles here, and these are fairly nice tiles. They do have the power listed on it and the strength of each one. They have the name of the game on the back and the different artwork, which I think look fine for this game. Everything is good, the components. You're going to get a few little generic scoring tiles. There is an expansion that comes with this, and then you're going to have a scoring board down here. So not a ton of components. Basically, it's a tile laying game. Very simple. You can see the nice artwork on this side. This is very nice. It just kind of sits down. Everything is fairly good for the components. Here's the rule book. You can see a picture of all the different tiles and the components that you're going to have in the game. You're going to have setup and how to play. This is really all you need to play the game right here. This is the end of the game. This will be the breakdown of how each of the tiles and their special powers works. On the back is an explanation of the expansion, which is going to go beyond the scope of what we're doing here. But just know that there's additional tiles in here, 4 additional tiles that you can play with and kind of change up the variety a little bit. You're going to shuffle all the tiles. Somebody's going to draw 5. Every player's going to draw 5 of these for your starting hand. You'll take a random tile, and it'll just be your starter. And this will be the scoring. I'm just going to kind of show you how the game works. On your turn, you're going to take a tile, and you're going to place it next, orthogonally, to any tile on the board. A row or a column cannot have more than 7. If the number of the one you're placing is more than the number you're going, then you'll score points for the number of tiles. So 1 and 2, blue would score 2. If you were to put another tile here, the number 1, and it's not the largest one, then you wouldn't score any points. After you take your turn, you draw another tile, and the next player would go. Very easy. Play a tile on your turn, cannot exceed 7 in a row or column, and then you draw another tile. Now where the game gets a little tricky is each of these tiles will have a different power associated with it. First couple are Odin and Thor. They're worth 8 and 7. The 2 highest ones, they don't have any powers. They're just worth the most. You're going to have the Troll, which will be a 6, and his trick is nothing can be placed adjacent to him. So if he was down, no matter what, even if you had something higher than him, nobody can go next to him because nobody wants to be next to the Troll. Then you'll have a dragon. Dragons fly, so they can be placed on top of other tiles. They cannot be placed on top of trolls or next to a troll because nothing can go there. But you can put them up there and kind of cancel things out a little bit. So let's say there was like an Odin here, and you know that if you place, let's say the troll was in here, and you had Odin there, you know, like if I can't place anything there because it won't score, you can go right on top of him, and now it scores. Findor, this one right here, the monstrous son of Loki, the value of the sum of this tile is all the ones in a row. So you want to get as many of these wolves in a row as possible in order to increase the number of scoring that it will have. What's good about this one is you can actually take one of these. So if, let's say you had a dragon here, and you wanted to take this one because it's not going to score if I put it there. Maybe I'll get rid of this, take it back into my hand, and I can just set her out, and now I got this really high one I could score later. Now, if a dragon is on top of something, and I want to replace it, then this dragon would be out of the game. The Valkyrie is going to end a little bit different, so if you place one of these down, and there's a Valkyrie at the beginning and the end of a row, then you will score it automatically, even though it isn't the highest number. Last one is Loki. When you place him down, everything next to him will be a 0. So these are now 0, and it's a great way to get Loki in there and decrease the number of other things so you can set up other scoring patterns. So each of these tiles is going to work a little different. It is printed on there, which is nice. There is an expansion with 4 additional tiles that will come in here. I'm not going to go over those in the scope of the rules, but know that they are in here and they can be utilized with the game. The game also comes with an Order of the Gods expansion with some extra components. It exceeds the scope of this review, but know that it comes in the box. I'm assuming all products of this will have, but you'll see it right here on the front that it will come in. And what this is going to do is going to shake it up. You're going to get 4 new types of tiles. You're going to get Dwarf, Freya, Raven, and a Lizard. And you have some booster tokens and stuff that will go on them. And it just kind of shakes things up. Because the whole game is about utilizing the powers of the tiles that you're playing.
Who should buy this game? This would be a game definite for people who like abstract tile placement games. That's all you're going to get here. If you don't mind the theme, it's on there, but does it really constrict to anything that's going on in the game? I think it's just fine. But you're going to like that experience. I think it plays better with 2. It's a little bit less... a whole bunch of stuff's happening before my turn, so less players is probably better with this one. This is what I would tell you that if you missed out, if this sounds interesting to you at all, you probably want to check this one out. As for me, it's going to be a Purge.